Well, it's a little closer than I'd like, but hey, what the heck? This is the first video using the neck thing. I didn't really get it for making the videos, but I want to try it. This is my off-the-wall commentary of Let's Touch First on the crazy American overeducated people that some of them really don't believe that the American diet is bad for us. People literally make fun of you for eating healthy and vegetables and going vegan or having a hybrid mixed diet of where you're mostly vegetables. They act like they've never eaten a salad or a vegetable before in their lives and that you might die if you go on these things, which is not true. If more people was probably raised vegetarian, vegans, there'd probably be a lot more compassion and understanding in the world. They do say like a lot of the meats and stuff and additives and stuff can tense your muscles up, uh, make you more mentally strong as far as like I don't know what I'm looking for, rude, mess up your head, kind of like people with blood sugar issues or peanut allergies or certain food allergies. Um, it's the concept of whatever. Anyways, I just had to start with that, so let's get that out of the way. Two, let's jump on to internet speed. Some people still have really slow internet speed, 3 or 7 meg or less. It might be gig for some, but it seems like meg. But anyways, so let's go with that. Here, Windstream, last I knew, offers 10 meg. It might be gig now. Uh, Gigabauds. Uh, our Spectrum offers about 70. Across the street from my house, several times, Windstream tried to convince me that we have up to a 200 megabaud gig line, and the technicians tell me that they can only give me 10 speed because they can't tap into it because the technology is too expensive and they don't have the boxes yet. So only a few places in town have that besides businesses. Even though the line goes right past my house and it's been there for 5 years or longer because I was out there when they ran it through. And they said mostly at the time the line was for businesses. It was a new Ethernet cable that surrounded the state of Ohio. And basically they've had it there, but they keep the technology low and slow, and then they bump the speed up a little and charge you for another box and all this stuff, and they generate billions and billions of dollars of unnecessary revenues over time to give you the slowest speed internet possible. And then on top of that, other places, which kills me, is because I've been told a lot of places in Europe and Canada have 1,000 speed internet, have for years. Our government operates on that. Everybody's like, oh, satellite's not that good because it's such a low speed. And I'm like, okay, but you're aware of the things that the government does with satellites. Many governments and NASA and all the other things, they have fast speed internet. They have regulators on there that control it for people that have house internet that gives you the slowest up speed possible and the slowest download to keep the technology backwards as possible so it's not that affordable so people won't use it because people can hack that stuff. People can know how to do stuff. People, it's going to be the best internet ever. I mean, all right, so sometimes it doesn't work the best on cloudy and stormy days, but across the board, you're telling me everything that the government's ever done has worked the best at all times? Or if it's not, then if it has those digital conversions where it does like an encryption thing, where if it connects the signal and it can stay locked on or reconnect during a storm or at little breaking points of the storm, you're back to good internet speed. So you might have some brief time. So let's combine it. Let's give us a hybrid version of the internet. Let's give us the phone lines, the cable lines, the local cell phone lines, and let's get some satellite internet too, and give us a quad signal. That way we have internet coming from all directions. And that's my main thing is like everybody's opinion is different. Some people are content with slow speed internet. We'd love to have 100 to 200 just to boost it, just for watching videos with the lag time and the Fire Sticks and the TVs. And you guys don't realize how annoying that is. And I'm sure the TV companies like that too, because then if you're not watching their TV channels, they don't want you to have the best speed internet unless you're paying for their TV services. But even then, those lag and have jump times because the internet's so slow, the server's so slow. It goes through a wireless box, which is usually the phone company or cable company puts in the farthest room possible from your main stuff. And by rights, they should be putting little repeaters in each room, Because they're like, oh, well, you shouldn't have the box there. 5 years later, the tech tells you. They're like, well, put the dang box where we're going to use it most then, instead of being ignorant about when you install our internet. Or give us little repeater towers in each room. And I don't know, that's the main highlight about it. And it's kind of like the ignorance of the corporations that want to say they're going to give you fast internet, charge you too much for it, give you crappiest service possible, and then the next year they'll give you new technology, have you redo it all. You'll pay an extra 10 or 20 bucks a year, and it'll be just a little bit better than the technology you had before and before and before. We actually had the cable phone internet, and it was actually the cable phone line for the house too. And they went and installed it. Like the guy was supposed to bury the line. Well, he come along and shovel tipped it. Then I find out several years later that the reason we had crappy internet and crappy phone service was because he shovel tipped in a line that was designed to be hung up outside, and it was more of a temporary cable. And nobody's going to recoup you for those costs. Plus, the internet phone box that the cable company gave me was an old one. So it was an old crappy box on an old crappy line that was basically, and I paid for that new service for several years. And you know, when you call them, there's like, oh, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong. A tech checks it, there's nothing wrong. You know, finally you get a smart tech a couple years later, it's like, oh, this phone box is obsolete. They should have never gave this to you even a couple years ago. And then you find out that you finally get the right tech that's got a right set of brains. It's like, oh yeah, they use the outside cable that's supposed to be strung across the yard in the ground. Even though it's only a few inches down, it gets little holes and breaks in a line from frost and freezing. So they had to run me a whole new loop. Well, by then I was about ready to quit, so I dropped everything except the internet. And even then, I think it was only like 25 speed. Now we're up to like 70 through the internet cable. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the phone company's always been overpriced and overcharged forever. And they act like they got the best service in town, and they're just pushing 10. 10. And it's like for most of the places, even like last year when I signed up, they promised me two different people on the phone that I would have up to 200 speed internet. I get the text here, I got the box, I got everything hooked up, and there are three, four of them actually confirmed it even from the office. The line goes right past your house on the other side of the street, but the people in your neighborhood don't have it because we haven't converted those areas, and they have no idea when because it's just too expensive. So all that aside, it could be 100 years before we get the faster internet from the phone company. And they're right. As far as that, the satellite internet is so expensive and it is a lot slower. But I've considered it before just to stop the local nonsense. We're in a private area. You can only have one phone provider, one electric provider, one cable or phone internet provider. Now they do make arrangements where you can have long distance phone, which was done years ago. You can have different carriers. You can have your electric brought in from other places, even though your local still maintains your lines. What's the point of that? Then you're talking to two different companies that says you don't get our electrics from us anyways. We just maintain the meter. So what's the point of doing that? And then it's just actually a little bit more money when I tried it before. So you're better off just sticking with your local electric company, your local crappy phone company, or in this case, the better cable company, and until you're ready to spend the money for a little bit faster satellite internet, which someday is going to be awesome when they allow it to be. You're telling me that the government's operating on 25 megs and 2 megs upload speed for all the stuff that they do? I don't buy it. I don't believe it. Now I believe that they're going to charge you dearly for it because they don't want you to have faster internet speed than them. I get that. But across the board, there's so many more technology things that can happen that's going to be so much better in so many ways, and they just got to quit being so dang greedy about it. And that's really it. It's those for profitability companies. It goes back to the twisted version of Tesla when they said that he had wireless electricity all those years ago. You know how many phone poles and copper wire we wouldn't have needed as many of? Yeah, you'd still need it some places, but they had a thing that you could have switches and you could have beamed the electricity like a laser light. And then, God forbid, if anything happened, it would have shut the line off if the thing moved or whatever. At each end, it has to line up like the mirror, just like the people that put the laser across their driveway, or it shuts the connection off. But the point is they had It's the same concept that they said is used in your wireless cell phones for the signal. They could add wireless electricity, not only for all your electronics and stuff like that. Of course, I think you'd want a kill switch with them, but also our cell phones would be powered by wireless electricity like it will be in the future. Yeah, I would hope it would have a backup battery and local connections, but it would bill the same. It would just be like when they're running up your minute charge on a meter. It's no different. It's wireless. They've had the technology. They may not have the total brains how to use it, but Tesla did. And he made a mistake when he gave that money back to, I believe it was Westinghouse. I seen the show on it. But anyways, he gave the money back to his employer. He tore the contract up, and according to the documentary, and he would have had enough money to be rich the rest of his life to do all his research, and he probably would have been the third powerhouse that maybe over encapsulated and incorporated a lot of good ideas in the world, just from some of the documentaries I've seen on him. But anyways, it's the point that we would be so much farther along in technology. And while I'm throwing this out there, it's the concept of they think that electric car batteries is ruining the world. There's so many other things ruining the world besides electric car batteries. I'm not saying they're going to be the best, but I just mean there's tons of places that's had electric cars for years and also electric equipment. The main diesel trains, from what I've heard for years, is electric diesel motors. They go across the country on a tank of gas because the electric diesel motor helps power them. And then when you get into like tow motors and pallet jacks and stuff like that, they've been running on electric for years. You know how many gas tanks they save on propane by having electrical rechargeable tow motor equipment that you just plug in on site, and you can swap the batteries out. And yeah, the batteries need furbished, but they last longer than they used to. And a good charged tugger on a flat surface, I've seen it run for at least 2 shifts, almost three. Now, when you get to using it, the battery is drained down. If you're lifting stuff from the floor all the way to the ceiling, it might only last a few hours to half the night. Depends on what you're doing. But I'm just saying, across the board. So the technology is getting better and better. It's kind of like the cell phone batteries. At one time, they barely lasted. Now they have so much better technology. They'll last for so many hours and standby time and can last for a couple of days if you don't use them. The technology is there and it's getting better and better, but some of them is them suppressing it and wanting to overcharge for the technology and like just increasing a little bit, a little bit, a little bit to make you pay more and more and more and more. Some of it's lack of knowledge, some of it's greed, if you ask me. That's my opinion. So, what are you going to do with that? Until you're smart enough to make the change or have your own company that can supersede them. We're just stuck at the burden of the situation. But it's being aware of it's the key, and people saying, hey, how come you can't get me the tech for a 200 speed internet line that's across the street from my house? I mean, I can't even sign up for my own. You think they could by now just tie in a little repeater that would beam the signal right to my house, and I wouldn't need 40, 50 neighbors hooking up to the same tech, would you? It'd be worth it if you could charge me $200 to give me the faster internet. I don't mean that, but I mean, say I really needed the faster internet. I can't have that. I can't have that. I can't have that. So what's the point? What's the point of having the technology across the street? What's the point of having it there 5 years before they offer it to us? That's my point. So, I don't know. Some of you, the video might not make no sense, but you probably wouldn't have made it that far in the video anyways. And if you did, nobody would care. And if you did, thank you for stopping in. Thank you for a like, a share. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for making your own commentary video. Thank you for some comments of positivity. And we'll just go from there. I love these random videos. I just was trying to think of a topic and wanted to start somewhere. So this is my new phone holder, and it's not really made for doing this. That's why you got such a close-up of my face. But all right, good luck.